Live from downtown Vancouver at the Vancouver Film School campus, it's time for EP Live. Hey, welcome to EPN. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest in everything cool every single day. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of EP Live. We've got an awesome episode for you today with a fantastic guest. His name is Dan Payne, and he has played lots of very cool characters, most recently King Shark. We're going to get into that in a little moment, but first I have to remind you that we shoot this show live at the VFS Cafe in downtown Vancouver at 390 West Hastings, so you can come and join the audience. And it's great to see everybody today. Thank you so much for coming. It's awesome. Got a great crowd today, an all ages crowd, which I love. And we have to dedicate this show to Molly Ann Missy, who says, "Way to go, Andrew, represent." This was Andrew, who was on the show the other day. I was in town in Edmonton just last month, and she happened to be wearing her EPN t-shirt for Physio. So way to go, Molly Ann Missy. This rundown is all yours. It looks like the next big Zelda game is on the way, but we're probably going to have to wait a little while. Xenoblade creator Monolith Soft, which has assisted on the development of the last two console Zelda games, Breath of the Wild and Skyward Sword, has begun hiring for a new Zelda project. According to job listings on their website, they're looking for artists, programmers, and environment designers, and judging by how many new people they're looking for, it could mean that they're taking a bigger role in development this time around. Monolith's main job on Breath of the Wild was creating the game's vast landscape, so the new game could be even bigger and more expansive. It will probably be at least a few years before we start seeing it, though. In the meantime, a remake of the Game Boy classic, Link's Awakening, is coming to the Switch later this year. It just gets me all sort of amped up when I hear that more Zelda is coming on the way. That's my favorite game of all time, Breath of the Wild, and Monolith contributed an incredible creative angle to that game because the environments were the story. You could just go wherever you wanted. So in terms of what I want next from a Zelda experience, and I'd love to hear from you guys as well. I wouldn't mind, traipsing across the environments that were already created for us with Hyrule a little more. I don't want, to basically do like a reverse of the story that we got, but there's lots and lots of nooks and crannies and lots of really rich detail that they could still, make very cool for us in some kind of a sequel out there. Yeah, I do want it to get a little bit larger. Maybe we get some sailing missions or something like that. That would be pretty rad as well. Maybe we go off into some far-off islands, or maybe we have all of the Hyrule and then we get to travel to somewhere else. Who knows? Monolith is incredibly talented, and the one thing that I do know is that they won't release it until it's awesome, and I can't wait, and I know you can't either. Speaking of things that we can't wait for, the next Avengers movie has already scored a big win at the box office. Avengers Endgame is set to open in China on April 24th, 2 days before its release in North America and most other territories. This makes it the first Marvel movie and one of the first big Hollywood movies in general to open in China before the United States, further signaling how China is quickly replacing the U.S. as the world's most valuable film market. This also makes it likely that Endgame will have the biggest worldwide opening of all time, with some predictions putting it as high as $800 million. That's the opening. And I think that's probably going to happen. The current record holder is Avengers Infinity War at $640 million. Who on earth, who has ever seen a movie, period, isn't already lining up to see this movie? This movie has all of us on edge. We all want to see what the culmination is. We want to see Thanos get his butt kicked, and the rumor is that he might get his butt kicked from the inside. That's what people are talking about. Ant-Man might actually. Anyways, it gets a little scatological to talk about it in that way, but we might be seeing something very different, and there's an internet meme happening right now. People are making fun of that right now, but that could be amazing. But the less said, honestly, at this point about Avengers Endgame, the better. We just want to see it, yes? Who's with me on that? We don't want to see any more trailers. We don't want to see any more posters. Just want to see this freaking movie. Can't wait. All right. Now, a lot of big game makers are pulling out of E3, but thankfully one of them will still be there. Ubisoft has announced that they will be at E3 this June. They'll have their customary press conference on Monday, June 10th, where they'll make new announcements, and they'll also have a booth on the show floor where attendees will be able to get their hands on time with new titles. This should come as a sigh of relief for E3 fans. We knew they were going to be there. Sony shocked the industry by pulling out from the event with no press conference or booth on the show floor. Now, I've been to 24 of the 24 E3s. This will be the 25th one. I've never seen an E3 without Sony there. And in fact, Sony has been one of the main reasons why E3 has kicked so much butt over the years. They've thrown the best parties. They've had really big reveals. They've had amazing success stories with that show and their press conference in particular, so it's a shock that they are not going to be there. But Activision also won't have a booth, and EA will still be hosting their EA Play event across the street, but they're not going to have a press conference there. Everybody's doing these video things, and I've spoken at length how important it is to come together in Los Angeles to celebrate the cultural sort of resonance of video games with E3, and I think we're transitioning. I think part of this equation is that Google will have a presence at E3. I don't know yet if Apple is going to have any kind of a presence, a visible presence at E3, but Google and Apple are two big names in games that we are talking about this year. Whether you're, excited for their products or not, they're in this business now, and Microsoft is changing their business before our eyes. They might announce that, Xbox Live is going to be on the PlayStation 5, at E3 this year. Everything is crazy. But that's what's cool about video games. There's no way to kind of sort of determine that it's finished. It's always changing, and it's very fun to keep talking about it. And that's why the slogan is play forever. Am I right?